Hello everybody, as I'm the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and in addition with me, I am Knuckles the Echidna here. Hey everyone, it's time to have some Knuckles sandwich. Yes, of course, Knuckles, because today we're about to be presenting you another redo Let's Play for our channel. This time around, we're going back to the past of the Super Smash Bros. Games. Yeah, because this time we're playing Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. First came out in 1999, which I can't even believe it's been about 21 years since when this game first came out on the Nintendo 64, with its commercial success and also how well the series were able to become famous for in the future, to be more specifically with the most recent sequels like Melee, Brawl, 3DS, Wii U, and recently Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, because the reason why we're going to be doing this game again as in the forms of our redo Let's Play is because we technically already done this before, back in 2015. However though, there are giant massive problems with that particular Let's Play in mind. Although before we get onto that though, Sonic, is the fact that obviously the main focus of this Let's Play is that, well, obviously just trying to showcase off multiple modes, mainly with the forms of the main focus is of course one player mode, in this case one player game. Yeah, there's also the trading mode right here and there, but we're not going to show that off trading mode because since that we've technically already done our Let's Plays of Super Smash Bros. Melee from 2016 all the way up to 2017, as well as Super Smash Bros. Brawl during the same year in 2017. However though, in 3 years later, we're now going back into Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. So, anyway, enough about that. So, as you can see from the first game in the series of Super Smash Bros., we actually got ourselves 12 playable characters, which there are Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, McCloud, as well as Pikachu. And those 8 playable characters you actually get from the start, which kind of reminds me of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but then again, we'll talk more about that game if we decide to do that Let's Play of that game. So, yeah, in addition to that, we also have ourselves 4 extra playable characters, which you can only unlock once you're trying to able to do specific conditions. Like, for example, we have Luigi, as well as Ness, and also Captain Falcon, and finally, Jigglypuff, also known in Japan, Purin. So, it's worth pointing things out because of the forms of the Japanese translation between these Pokemon and stuff like that. So, obviously, we're about to get started with, of course, the first character in the entire game, which is, of course, Mario. Even though originally that Mario was supposed to join in with me for the sake of this Let's Play, but unfortunately though, he doesn't get around to that. So, anyways, let's get to it, and as you can tell, we're going to be starting things off with normal mode, just because we feel like up for the challenge, and let's get this thing started. So how it works for Super Smash Bros. As far as the actual, the first game in the series, of course, it plays out pretty much exactly like any other fighting games, although except the fact that the biggest difference is between this game than the likes of any other fighting games from the past is that you don't have your health bar. Instead, you get yourselves a percentage meter. Every time whenever you manage to able to smack someone or punch someone, then basically the percentage will go up, depending on how strong those attacks are. So, but even then though, let's just say for example, if you're trying to able to play one player game on very hard mode, then basically the computer players were able to become a lot more stronger than the likes of, well, basically for anything else really, so. And as you can tell, that since this is inspired by the future games, which is to be more specifically the classic mode, basically it's all about the arcadic experience with, in terms of to be more specifically, just trying to fight any other opponents, Jordan takes place in a different amount of stages. Specifically, as you can see, on the first stage, we always ended up fighting against with Link, and obviously the stage takes place in Hyrule Castle, which later on it will be revisited until Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, and I believe also the 3DS version as well, though I may be wrong, that that stage will make a comeback. In addition to that though, Sonic, is that recently in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, managed to bring that stage back. Yeah, which I found is actually really cool. And speaking of such, here we go on to stage 2, where basically we have to fight against with Team Yoshi, or to be more specifically, Yoshi Team, or Team Yoshi as far as I'm concerned, and we need to fight about 18 of them. And this obviously takes place in Yoshi's Island, specifically the N64 counterpart of Yoshi's Island. However though, this stage we're able to make a comeback until not only Super Smash Bros. Melee, but also, I believe, well, I think that's as far as I can think about it. Although eventually, speaking of such though, Sonic, is that this stage will also make a comeback until Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, even though you usually just manage to call this stage a different name, which appears to be by the forms of Super Happy Tree, which usually inspires by Yoshi's story. So anyways, on to the third stage, we're going to be face off against with Fox McCloud, as you can see right there, and this stage takes place in Sector Z, which, usually relatively speaking, is the fact that between these two stages for Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, some two stages, specifically this stage, Sector Z, along with the other one as well, never bring a comeback in the future games, or to be more specifically though, recently Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I have no idea why, but I'm guessing in the future installments of those two stages will become a lot more improvements during later on, but I digress. And as you can see, we've managed to actually complete the 3 stages, and every time you go to the bonus stages, as you can see, we ended up with those 2 specific challenges, which there are, obviously bonus stage 1 takes place in Break the Target, where basically we need to break all 10 targets by the end of the stage. Whoever you are able to actually accomplish that, then you would move on to the next stage in terms of one-player game. And obviously, if you couldn't tell already, it's the fact that according to this particular capture footage you're going to be seeing, this is obviously based off from the actual... Excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, folks. Obviously, we've managed to record this on the actual hardware as opposed to the Virtual Console version. Even though technically we were going to be playing this on the Wii Virtual Console version, but obviously that has been changed significantly now because... Obviously, oh wow, we're actually having ourselves a doppelganger Mario and Luigi battle. That's actually pretty interesting to say the least. Like obviously we're going to be fighting against with, well in stage 5 you're obviously going to be face off, oh wait, stage 4 rather, that we're going to be face off against with, well, the Mario Bros, as you can see right there, that we're actually going to be face off against with Mario and Luigi. Even though that usually, relatively speaking, we have Luigi as our partner, but usually, relatively speaking, the uniquest thing about the series is that they have different alternate costumes. To be more specifically though, is that basically since we are playing as the regular red uniform Mario, as you can see, but usually later on, whenever you proceed to this particular stage, he got himself a very similar color, as in with the forms of Wario's colors, which is pretty interesting to say the least, even though it wasn't until when Wario will make its playable debut in Super Smash Bros. History until Brawl and the future games. So, yeah, I just want to point things out. And also, as you can see, for our teammate for Luigi, as you can see, his color palette was actually based off from his Fire Flower power-up from the likes of the original Super Mario Bros. Or something like that for that specific of, well, it might be hard to explain because it has been a long time since we actually played this game. Clearly it's because we're used to playing with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is the most recent game in the series. So, yeah, I must admit that I do apologize for that. So... And that stage in stage 5 is obviously takes place in Peach's Castle, which basically that usually takes place, or stage 4 rather, managed to take place in Peach's Castle, which later on it will bring it back until Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS, as well as on the Wii U, and they obviously make everything else a little bit more gorgeous to look at. And also recently, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate managed to bring that stage back. And speaking of such, stage 5 we've already done due to the forms of how weird AI can be sometimes. Stage 5, you always have to face off against with Pikachu in Journey Forms of Salvation City, and that stage will make its return in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I'm very glad that stage finally makes its return after the events of almost like 19 years before, well, usually, yeah. In Stage 6, as you can see, we obviously always have to face off against with one of the first bosses in the game, which appears to be Giant DK, or Giant Donkey Kong as what the announcer tells us to. Basically, it's the fact that we need to beat the crap out of the forms of Giant Donkey Kong, and it does take place in Conga Jungle, which not only that stage will make its comeback in Journey forms of, well, to be more specifically, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and also Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, and eventually Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which it does have a lot of significant changes, or, well, usually relatively speaking, that's all I could usually just try to say about this for this point right there. So anyways, as you can see, we ended up on the second bonus game, which as you can see, differently from the likes of, Break the Targets, is that, well, usually it kind of does the exact same, some sort of like a similar concept, except the fact that, as you can see, we're now boarding onto platforms. Like, I believe we need to board about, 10 platforms, and once you step on 10 platforms, then the challenge completes. So, yeah, that's all pretty swell and fine and dandy. And of course, if you manage to accomplish those specific challenges like those, basically you get yourselves extra amounts of points, as you can see. In Stage 7, you always have to face off against with 8 different variations of, well, specifically Kirby Team, or Team Kirby to be more precise. And basically we need to fight against with 8 of these Kirbys, as you can see. Now obviously, as you can see, is the fact that the uniquest thing about Kirby in this game is that, taking a notice from the likes of the previous Kirby's adventures for sure, basically, Kirby got himself his copy abilities, which we're gonna have to fight against with the Mario Kirby, Link Kirby, DK Kirby, and so on and so forth. However though, yeah, let's talk about the forms of Mario's movesets before we move on to the next stage, actually, because we forgot to tell the audience about this, for the sake of the forms of what Mario's movesets can do. Obviously, if you manage to press the, well, obviously you can able to move around with the control stick, and then pressing the C buttons will allows the characters to jump, and then pressing the B button can do some special attacks, and then obviously the A button can do all sorts of punches and stuff. And, pressing the L button will allows us to able to perform a taunt mode. And basically, it can just taunt any other opponents. So, anyway, for special moves for Mario, as you can see, since this is the first game in the series, just right before when Super Smash Bros. Melee came around, and the future games and onwards, usually this game does not have a side special attack. So basically, we're going to discuss upon 3 special attacks for Mario, and the other characters as well. To be more specifically though, Sonic, is the fact that, well, as you can tell, using the B button will allow Mario to toss a fireball. And if you press the directional pad down, or in this case, if you press the B button while you're trying to able to tilt the analog stick up, basically Mario will able to perform some sort of like a jump attack. Like, you know, every time if you get close to an enemy or the opponent or whatever though, basically you get yourselves a pretty cool coins pops up every time whenever you're just trying to able to do that attack, which is pretty cool, I have to say. And then down B its special attack, as you can see, it actually performs a Mario Tornado, which it wasn't until before when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came around, it has been replaced by a different down special, which is of course Flood. And obviously, as you can see on screen, is the fact that we ended up on Stage 8, which we always have to face off against with Samus Aran in Journey forms of Planet Zebes. And I think that stage is also being forgotten just because of how the fact that, well, usually it gets a lot more better in the future games, to be more specifically in Brimstar. Anyways, in stage number 9, as you can see, we actually have to face off against with the second boss in the game, which appears to be by the forms of, well, to be more specifically, Metal Mario, which becomes a little bit stable in the future games. Well, at least despite the fact that it usually becomes a non-playable character during the Melee and all the other stuff. So yeah, basically it takes place in Metal Cavern as far as what the actual stage represents, and I believe that stage will make a comeback as in the forms of a fan game, which appears to be Super Smash Flash 2, which is the more specifically, you know, a much more of an updated version of Super Smash Flash 2 beta. So pretty cool, and it's a very simple stage kind of thing about it. And then every time if you get onto the third bonus stage, as you can see, we need to race to the finish, basically. And unlike the ones in the Melee counterpart, basically we need to avoid a lot of obstacles, and you have to go through different floors in between, like level 5 all the way up to level 1, and basically you can able to actually just to go ahead and reach to that specific shiny door, and that way you would be able to accomplish that particular race to the finish challenge. And obviously, depending on what floors you're going to be entering into, you have yourselves those very weird polygon fighters that we need to avoid. And there's also some bombs that you need to avoid, as well as these bumpers, as you can tell. So yeah, not that much of a challenge, unless if you really want to go for some more points. And as you can see on stage 10 is the fact that we need to face off against with Fighting Polygon Team, which basically represents the forms of Until the Future Games, the actual multi-man kind of series of stuff. Although, except the fact that we're actually going to be faced off against with 30 of these things, and obviously this takes place in Battlefield stage, which becomes a little bit more iconic until the— Son of a biscuit! God dang it, I hate explosions sometimes, and there goes our first ever stock in the entire Let's Play. So, I really did try my best if I was going to able to play this after the events of playing through Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on our own time, but either way though, forgive us for able to actually just to be a little bit more skillful as it is, so, oh well. Anyway, we'll talk more about the forms of the item system of how this game offers us to during at some point on Wednesday, because as far as I'm aware, basically it's the fact that, as far as you guys should know, that one of those Let's Plays has been officially been cancelled recently, so this is actually the replacement for the likes of Epic Mickey, so, but yeah, I just want to point things out right away because I just feel like trying to mentioning about that. So, anyway though, anyway, as I said before, that the Battlefield stage will become a little bit more iconic in the future games. Like, unfortunately, this particular variation of Battlefields does not become a playable stage in this game, but it wasn't until in Melee and onwards it'll become a playable stage. And that's as far as I can usually think about it. So there goes every single polygon fighters. And yeah, depending on specific conditions, as you can see, that's the more points you can get if you manage to follow those particular conditions right. So, but then again, though, it has been a very, very long time since we actually played this, because again, we used to with Ultimate recently. And every single time whenever you get into the final stage in the entire one-player game, or 1P game if you want to call it that, basically you always have to face off against with the final boss in the game, which appears to be Master Hand himself. And I believe you're always able to actually fight against with him. It doesn't matter what difficulty you're going to be choosing, it always gets like 300 HP. Which, until in the future games, that usually in the difficulty setting, always depending on the forms of how much health bar they obviously they've got left. So, but either way though, it wasn't until when Melee came around that it does have some very significant changes, and even in some cases for that matter, obviously they managed to introduce into quite a number of things, so. And this obviously takes place in Final Destination stage, which is also not a playable stage, so in this case specifically though is the fact that we need to beat the crap out of the Master Hand. And some people seem to say this is one of the hardest parts about this game, because most of the time Master Hand will able to actually give you a lot of challenge, because compared to the future games, that does become a little bit of a simple, easy boss, but usually it's from the start, so but either way though, there's not much else to say about this. And there goes our another stock, because I get a feeling that we're probably not going to make it back into that stage. Yep, we're not going to make it. Oh well. But at least we still ended up to set up the actual 5 stock, and once you demolish all of its health, if it's possible, then the entire 1P mode or 1P game will be, well, accomplished. So, and obviously you do need to avoid a lot of his Master Hand's attacks, ranging from that particular finger walking kind of attack, as well as that particular Monster Hand rocket missile launch, as well as well, just bullets in general if he managed to pull up a gun shape. And that's pretty much as far as we can say about this. So either way though, since we've completed the 1P game for as a first playable character, which is of course Mario. Oh yeah, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that in Stage 7 is that obviously the stage takes place into is obviously Dreamland, from the likes of the N64 installment of Dreamland. That stage will make a comeback in Super Smash Bros. Melee, as well as Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and the 3DS, and recently Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. So, I still have no idea why that Brawl does not bring back most of these N64 stages as of now. So yeah, it's very strange. So anyways, once you've done with the one-player game mode, obviously as you can tell, we ended up on a staff credit sequence. It obviously felt a little bit bare bones compared to the forms of how it does it in the future games, but you can able to actually look upon some of these staff members managed able to work on in this game, and especially noticeable about the fact that you can able to actually look upon certain details of development cycle. So, and obviously the background theme you're always going to be hearing about is of course the Super Smash Bros. Credits theme, which thankfully has been remixed in Journey forms of the future games, specifically Brawl for the Wii U and 3DS, and especially noticeable with Ultimate. So yeah, that's very special, alright? So anyways, I think we should probably end things off here. I know this video is kind of short, but eventually it gets a little bit exciting to say the least. So I digress. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. Is the fact that we're about to be moving on to the next character in terms of the 1P game. That is of course Donkey Kong is up next. And by the way, before you end things off, every time when you finish the staff credits, it shows you the actual postcard as you can see right there. So yeah, I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Yeah, later fellas.